Welcome to Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your SmackDown results and spoilers for main event. But first, birthdays. Randy Rose of the original Midnight Express turned 60 years old. His real name is Randall Alls. Robert Gibson, real name Reuben Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express, turned 58. Mike Modest turned 45. His real name Michael Cariglio. Ray Bucanero, real name Arturo Garcia Ortiz, turned 42. Tony Mamalu, a.k.a. Charles Spencer, turned 39. Jinder Mahal turned 30. Advertised dark main event for SmackDown was supposedly Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for the U.S. Championship, for the WWE Championship, but that was on SmackDown. John Cena versus AJ Styles was advertised, but no results has been posted. WWE is being sued on behalf of Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Road Warrior Animal, that's Joe Laurinaitis, King Kong Bundy, and several more wrestlers over the head trauma issues. WWE is accused of failing to care for repeated head injuries. Read more at Bloomberg.com. WWE issued the following statement to ProWrestling.net regarding the lawsuit. This is another ridiculous attempt by the same attorney who has previously filed class action lawsuits against WWE, both of which have been dismissed. A federal judge has already found that this lawyer made patently false allegations about WWE, and this is more of the same. We're confident about this, that this lawsuit will suffer the same fate as this prior attempt and be dismissed. Other wrestlers named on the long list of plaintiffs reportedly includes Paul Orndorff, Chavo Guerrero Jr., Chavo Guerrero Sr., Brian Clark, Ahmed Johnson, Kamala, Ken Patera, Sabu, Axel Massive Demolition, John Nord, Jumping Jim Bronzell, Marty Jannetty, John Heidenreich, the Warlord, the Barbarian, the Slickster, One Man Gang, and referees Dave and Earl Hebner. UFC has announced that Brock Lesnar failed a second anti-doping test issued by USADA on the day of his UFC Fight 200. UFC released the following statement by UFC.com. The UFC organization was notified today that the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, that's USADA, has informed Brock Lesnar that his in-competition sample collection from July 9th, 2016 at the UFC 200 has tested positive for the same substance as his previously announced out-of-competition collection on June 28th. 2016. USADA, the independent administrator of the UFC anti-doping policy, will handle results management and appropriate adjudication of this case. It is important to note that under the UFC anti-doping policy, there is a full, fair legal review process that is afforded to all athletes before any sanction are imposed. The Nevada State Athletic Commission also retains jurisdiction over this matter as a sample collection was performed at UFC 200 in Las Vegas. Consistent with all previous potential anti-doping violations, additional information will be provided at the appropriate time as the process moves forward. It's not looking good for Lesnar, who has now failed 2 tests. His only statement on the matter was released to the AP on Friday evening and read, "We will get into the bottom of this." Meanwhile, WWE continues to advertise Lesnar for a SummerSlam match against Randy Orton. Well, they just have the wellness policy. Different. And if they do suspend him, it will be after their match at SummerSlam. 30 days. First violation. Again, on the 20th, today, I'm doing this video, UFC announced that Brock Lesnar failed the second drug test. Already did that. Lesnar failed both tests for the same banned substance, and according to LA Times writer Lance Pugmire, Lesnar tested positive for estrogen blocker clomiphene. This is the same substance John Jones previously tested positive for and is common among bodybuilders looking to increase testosterone while signing off steroids. Pugmire tweeted the following at LA Times. Pugmire, I'm told by an official with knowledge of Brock Lesnar's positive test that the substance is clomiphene, the same one found in at Johnny Jones. Dark match for main event tapings in Worcester, Massachusetts saw Neville defeat Curtis Axel. Ryback, who has been out of action due to a WWE contract dispute, tweeted the following today and noted that his contract expires August the 8th or either October 17th, depending on certain circumstances. At Ryback22 on Twitter, update for the good ones. 1 month left for those before I resume wrestling, jiu-jitsu, boxing regime for return. Ear gets cleared in 6 days. Booker T posted following on his Instagram, this link, suggesting that his student and former NFL player Marcellus Black is headed to WWE. Black has had a WWE tryout earlier this year, and again you can go to that Instagram.com/Booker FIVEX. Thank you to our ROW Nation. Last night we had a packed crowd, and now we are full steam ahead to hashtag Summer of Champions 3. I want to thank Marcellus Black for everything you did for the reality of wrestling. That's ROW. Now go become the great black otaku of the WWE. Now can you dig that, sucker? Hashtag the ROW. Hashtag ROW Nation. 2 more Cruiserweight Classic Vignettes featuring Dumb Mac and Damian Slater. Tonight's Impact Wrestling, Tuesday night's Impact Wrestling was supposed to show, but they canceled the Impact, but they had a advertisement on USA Goals. Bobby Lashley to beat Eddie Edwards in a 6 sides of steel match on the show, which has been moved to Thursday night instead. This makes Lashley both the spoiler says this makes Lashley both the TNA World Champion and X Division Champion. Match will air on next week show. Speaking of Ring of Honor, that did on Monday Night Raw, Kevin Kelly is now working full-time for Ring of Honor. He had been working a separate regular job and is now working as a liaison of sports between talent and the front office. Kelly has introduced specific office hours at live events so that the talent can bring concerns and questions to him. Kelly is one of those, along with BJ Whitmer, Christopher Daniels, and Steve Corino, who present creative ideas on the days of the shows, while head booker Hunter Johnson heads up creative. He will also be leading the way on other projects that have been in the works for a while, such as Ring of Honor app and Roku channel. Bears Hater Bruiser, Silas Young, and Mandy Leon all missed the Ring of Honor TV tapings, and Bruiser and Young missed due to flight issues, as their flight from Milwaukee to Philadelphia never took place, and there's no heat on them because of that. Leon missed due to an illness of some kind. The company has planned for events in Japan next year in conjunction with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Well, a fight between Sin Cara and Simon Gotch took place backstage at the SmackDown tapings. Multiple sources have confirmed the fight, but which took in the catering area. It's also known that what sparked the altercation, or it's unknown what the altercation was about or who the aggressor was. Jeff Hardy has appeared on the Ross Network for a new interview. Highlights, of course, the Ross Report is done by good old JR. You probably catch it on JR's Barbecue. And on the current comments on the current TNA backstage morale, as far as morale goes, it's great. I mean, I don't read any of the timelines on Twitter, or if any of the comments from dirt sheets or whatever. I don't pay attention to any of that. I have more important stuff to do. As far as I'm concerned, morale is great. We're still living the drama and going to succeed and compete. But you know, it's kind of hard when things are going down as if there's bad morale or not a team. But we are, man. We are a great group of talent, and as far as I'm concerned, it's great. But it's not really my problem as far as our success on a TV channel. As far as I'm concerned, the shows are great, but it's up to the wrestling fans to love it. But yeah, as far as morale backstage, I don't think nothing's wrong with it. I mean, everybody is putting it all out there and living it all out in the ring. Every time I watch TNA, I love this. This is great. Some things aren't perfect, but I mean, gosh, if I was a fan, I always think back to when before I got into wrestling, when I was around 9, 10, or 11, before I was 16, and having to lie about my age to WWE TV. But anyways, if I was a fan, I think I would dig TNA because they're the underdogs. I mean, that's just my theory, but I don't know, man. It's just the world is so WWE dominant. It's just crazy. I think the majority of my fans want to see me back in WWE. It doesn't make me sick. I mean, I know where they are coming from, but I just wish we were like a bigger platform. As far as we are on top, I really don't care. I just go out there every taping and do the best I can and hope for the best as far as results. On asking him about his match against The Undertaker, if he does come to back to WWE for his WrestleMania match. All the time, man. We were doing a signing before a show Saturday here in North Carolina, and I don't know how many people said, man, the best match you ever had was against The Undertaker. It was so good, and your Raw's commentary comes up in the balance as well. Oh my God, just everything was so perfect about that match. Every time I go back to that and watch that match, I haven't watched that in a while, but every time I do, I get goosebumps. If you get the goosebumps, man, it's always good. I'm not being able to ride his motorcycle like he used to because of his accident. I hate that. I can't ride like that. I rode it for some. We did some filming out there for TNA that aired last week. I rode it around for a little bit, but still, my knees. I don't think I can absorb the jumps. Man, I just miss it so much because I miss it so much. I'm always going to love motocross. And until I get my knee fixed, I won't ride it until I'm strong. I just can't take any chances now on slowing down a bit due to injury at his age. Yeah, I think it's my mind, man. It's going, whoa, slow down, chill out. And when you go to the chiropractor tomorrow and see if he can fix my neck, oh my gosh, every little thing is crazy. But overall, man, I can't complain. That adrenaline, man, we talked about that earlier. That adrenaline is our thing, man. When you are out there in front of the crowd, when you are out there doing what you love, and that passion just sets fire to your soul. It's amazing what you can accomplish. And that concluded the highlights. Okay, NXT spoilers. Thanks to Will Henderson on Twitter at WillH94 for passing in the NXT spoilers. July 27th episode, Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Blake. Okay match. Blake got a decent amount of offense. Shinsuke won with a Sasha. William Regal announced that Shinsuke Nakamura versus NXT champion Samoa Joe for the takeover. Back to Brooklyn main event. Billy Kay defeated Santana Garrett. Santana got in a good bit of offense and looked good. Billy won with a stiff kick to the face. TM61 defeated Adrian Nails and Rob Rison. This was a showcase match for TM61, who picked up the quick win with their double team move. No Way Jose defeated Steve Cutler in a quick match. After the match, Jose cut a fired up promo about how all he wanted to show Austin Aries was the fun he brings to NXT. Joe says Aries took advantage of him, and when he showed him what he could, turns his fiesta into. Aries turned into a coward. Jose says next time they meet, he will whoop Aries' ass. Well, Cruiserweight Classic competitor Kota Ibushi defeated Murphy in a great match. Ibushi received a huge pop and won with a sit-out powerbomb. This may have been a dark match. Samoa Joe came out for a promo. Says the title match with Shinsuke Nakamura will not happen. Says William Regal didn't consult him. Joe calls Nakamura an undeserving contender. Regal comes out and says his decision is final. Joe says he had to jump through hoop to get the title, and Regal needs to correct his disrespect towards him, and they need to discuss his opponent. Regal says if Joe doesn't accept the fight, he will forfeit the title. Joe says he will hand Regal nothing, and that match will happen. But this is the biggest mistake Regal has ever made. Joe says if he sees Nakamura before takeover, Nakamura won't make it there. Nakamura interrupted and taunted Joe from the stage. Nakamura leaves while Joe stands in the middle of the ring confused. Into that episode. August the 3rd episode. Hideo Itami returns to action, defeating cruiserweight competitor Sean Maluta. Itami received a huge welcome back chant. Good match, a nice showing from Maluta. Itami won with a running single leg dropkick. Backstage segment with Bayley. She says it's time for her to adapt and prepare for the NXT Women's Champion, Asuka. Bayley says she's been watching Asuka. Asuka interrupts and tells Bayley to watch her firsthand. Asuka defeated Aliyah before the match. Asuka took a chair and put it at the bottom of the ramp. Then dared Bayley to come sit on it. Bayley folded the chair and watched from ringside. Asuka kicked Aliyah in midair, but stopped to count at 2 so she could apply the Asuka lock for the win. She doesn't like the whole go, prompting Bayley to come in and break it up. Asuka taunted Bayley with the belt as she checked on Aliyah as Bayley helped Aliyah to the back. Bobby Roode came out for a promo and said that the wait is finally over and he is NXT. He says Dallas showed him NXT was for him. He says the phrase, "we are NXT," it applies to fans too. Roode says he's here to take NXT and the fans to the next level, and that NXT and the fans need Bobby Roode. He's the man to expand the brand and make it a global powerhouse. He will be featured on billboards, commercials, and everywhere. He will make NXT a better place. Roode says presidents, vice presidents, and businessmen will soon fill the NXT arena. Not the losers fans here right now. He says he's the superstar because he looks and acts like one. Roode ends it by saying he is at the helm of the new NXT. And from here on, NXT will be NXT champions. Dash and Dawson defeated TM61 in a good match. The cruiserweight competitors Tony Nese, Drew Gulak, and Zack Sabre Jr. were brought to ringside for the match. The Revival got the win when Dash pulled Shane off of the apron, leading to Nick chasing him around the ring, but Dawson hit him with a DDT. Nick came back in after the match. The champions cut a promo running down who they beat. They were interrupted by Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, who come out wearing their Pro Wrestling Tees shirts. They do comedy, including some Pokemon jokes. They want to college the NXT Tag Team Champion titles and say that the Revival hasn't beat them. Dash and Dawson tell them to go back to their basements. A brawl breaks out. Gargano and Ciampa hit the double team move. They cover Dash for the 3 count, then celebrate with the titles before laying them back down for the Revival to retrieve. Sabre, Nese, and Gulak are still at ringside. Mojo Rawley with Chris Atkins ends in a no contest when Samoa Joe ran out and destroyed both men. Joe says he doesn't feel the need to consult with William Regal when he wants a rampage all over his show. Joe promises to destroy Shinsuke Nakamura. Mojo runs back in and lays Joe out, but Joe attacks him on the ramp and locks in a Coquina clutch until the referees pull him off. Here's the episode. August the 10th episode. William Regal out for the contract signing with Bayley, NXT Women's Champion, Asuka. Bayley says she's ready to beat Asuka. Asuka says she doesn't have to have what it takes, but she respects Bayley and offers a handshake. Bayley refuses and says Asuka doesn't want to end up laid out like her Last contract signing, she'll put her hand down and sign the contract. Asuka signs and tries the handshake again, and Bayley slaps her hand out of the way and bumps past her on the way out of the ring. Bayley runs back in for a stare down with Asuka. Authors of Pain defeated Adrian Nails and Rob Ryzen in a quick, brutal squash match. They tried to continue the assault after the match, but TM61 ran down, and they were also laid out. Authors are celebrated, but American Alpha runs down and clears the ring with the big suplexes. These tapings are probably going to be the last of some of these guys because they were just drafted to SmackDown. Speaking of American Alpha, Andre Cien Almas defeated Angelo Dawkins in a quick squash with a new finisher following the double knees in the corner face buster while he swept the leg. Andre celebrated, but it was interrupted by Bobby Roode. Roode clapped and congratulated Andre, not on the win, but on being Roode's debut opponent at TakeOver. Roode says he knows his amigo has a hard time understanding English, so he'll tell him slowly the TakeOver will be glorious. CWC Cruiserweight competitors Rich Swann, Noam Dar, and Jack Gallagher were at ringside for this episode. Billy Kay defeated Liv Morgan in a really sloppy match. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa defeated Tucker Knight and Patrick Clark in a quick match. Yeah, Patrick Clark, probably tough enough. To end that episode, August 17th episode, Hideo Itami defeated Cruiserweight competitor Mustafa Ali. Okay match with a good amount of offense for Ali. Itami got the win with a running single-leg drop. Carmelo, Liv Morgan, and Nikki Glencross. Carmelo was also drafted, as you will hear later on. Okay, Carmelo, Liv Morgan, and Nikki Glencross defeated Daria, Mandy Rose, and Alexa Bliss, who also was drafted. Not a bad match, really. The Hills beat up Liv until she got a hot tag to Carmelo. The Faces got the win, but Carmelo reversed the pin into her submission. NXT champion Samoa Joe defeated Mojo Rawley in a non-title main event. Mojo started the match aggressive until Joe tossed him into the steps. Joe dominated. Mojo fight off of a muscle buster and hit a clothesline off the top. Then followed out of a clutch attempt for a slam for a near fall. Joe turned the tides and dropped Mojo in the corner. Screams Nakamura's name and locks in on a clutch for the win. Joe puts a hold on when Nakamura's music hits for the save. The security and referees run out to keep a fight from happening and hold Joe back while Nakamura taunts him, grabs his nose, and leaves. After Nakamura left, Joe laid out security and in a rage and grabbed the title to end the episode. More news on the fight before SmackDown happened in the catering area. Thanks to PW Insider for the report. A brawl broke out within Carr and Simon Gotch of the Violent Villains. According to the report, multiple sources confirmed the incident happened, but unknown exactly what caused it. But it occurred in the catering area. Spoilers for our main event. 2 reports. Goldust, R-Truth, and Apollo Crews defeated Baron Corbin and the Dudleys. Calissa defeated Victor. Mark Henry and Jack Swagger defeated Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, and the Shining Stars defeated Titus O'Neil, the Usos, and Dolph Ziggler. Second report. Following match to tape for the main event. Golden Truth and Apollo Crews versus the Dudleys and Baron Corbin. Calissa versus Connor and Simpson. Mark Henry and Jack Swagger versus Tyler Breeze and Fandango. They were just saying who fought what. Same results for that. SmackDown and Draft Kickoff pre-show with Renee Young, Lita, Booker T, and Corey Graves on the network. The hype big event. Addition to Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. We will also see John Cena and Luke Gallows. We go back to Raw. We get a replay of general managers being introduced. Panel hypes the WWE Draft more as we go backstage to Ambrose and Tom Phillips. Ambrose says he doesn't believe in draws and is confident going into his rematch against Rollins. We get a look back at controversial Raw ending and more discussion from the panel. We get more hype for the tonight's event as Sasha Banks versus Charlotte and Dana Brooke in a handicap match was announced. More discussion for the panel for the draft. Xavier Woods versus Bray Wyatt was announced for SmackDown. Renee shows us some of the most shocking draft moments over the years. Tom was backstage with Sami Zayn, who doesn't have a preference on where he goes, but he hopes he doesn't end up on the same brand as Kevin Owens, as the match at Battleground should be their last. He also hopes Finn Balor gets the first pick from WNXT. More panel discussions, and that's it for the pre-show. SmackDown on the USA Network kicks off with General Manager Daniel Bryan coming out with Shane McMahon. We're live with Michael Cole, Mauro Ranallo, Jerry the King Lawler, and Byron Saxton. Bryan and Shane joined Raw Commissioner Stephanie McMahon and Raw General Manager Mick Foley on stage. Stephanie tries to quiet everything, but yes, Borgasm chant breaks out. Stephanie and Foley announced that the first draft pick for Raw, Seth Rollins. Bryan and Shane select current champion Dean Ambrose for SmackDown's first pick. Foley drafts current women's champion Charlotte. Shane picks AJ. AJ Styles, that is. Foley selects NXT superstar Finn Balor. Well, same as Zayn's pick. For Raw, John Cena versus Luke Gallows was your first match on SmackDown. Cena was out first to a pop. Luke Gallows was out next with AJ Styles and Carl Anderson. Enzo Amore and Big Cass make their entrance to a next pop. The match starts off with Gallows taking control. Cole sends us to a commercial break, but the match keeps playing in the box in the corner. Back for the break, and Gallows has Cena down. Cena catches a kick and hits a shoulder tackle. Cena slams Gallows and goes for the 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena hits it, but Gallows slides out of that attitude adjustment and drops him with a kick. AJ and Anderson get on the apron, bringing Enzo and Cass to the other side. All 6 men are in the ring. Cena and Gallows are down. Club charges, but Enzo and Cass dump them to the floor. Cena nails the attitude adjustment on Gallows for the win. We go to the announcer for the discussion on the first 5 draft picks. Tonight's WWE title match still to come. Rusev and Miz versus Darren Young and Zack Ryder. Back to commercial. Back from the break. The bosses are on stage. Foley selects for Raw Roman Reigns. Says that the pick shows that he means business. Shane selects John Cena for SmackDown. Stephanie drafts Brock Lesnar for Raw. Bryan selects Randy Orton for SmackDown. Stephanie asks Foley for a drum roll and announces Tag Team Champions New Day for Raw, and they will all be staying together. Rusev and The Miz versus Darren Young and Zack Ryder. U.S. Champion Rusev is out with Lana. Intercontinental Champion The Miz is waiting with Maurice, as is Zack Ryder, Darren Young, and Bob Backlund. The champions take control of Young early on as Backlund looks on. Ryder comes in and drops Miz for a 2 count. Miz turns it around, and comes Rusev for more offense. Ryder finally turns it around with a neck breaker. Young and Miz and both tag in, go at it. Young gets the upper hand and hits a belly suplex. Young with a gut check for a 2 count as Rusev breaks it. In comes with Ryder nails a missile drop kick to Rusev on the floor. Young gets a word from Backlund and applies crossface chicken wing on Miz for the win. Still to come segment, Sasha Banks versus Dana Brooke and Charlotte in a handicap match. Also Bray Wyatt versus Xavier Woods by the commercial. Well, Xavier Woods and Bray Wyatt match was up next. Wyatt makes her way out. Tag Team Champions New Day are at ringside. Wyatt with mind games early on in the match. Woods looks to be in a trance. Wyatt gets up from his knees and talks to him. Woods looks to snap out of it, but Wyatt unloads on him. Wyatt beats on Woods in the corner as Braun Strowman and Eric Rowan look from ringside. Wyatt keeps control and keeps a second senton. He keeps Woods grounded and taunts Kofi and Big E at ringside. Woods looks to make a comeback, but Wyatt gets a win with Sister Abigail. After the match, Wyatt family stands tall in the ring as we go to commercial. Next match, we got Kane versus Kevin Owens. supposedly. Back from the break, out comes Kevin Owens, yelling at the bosses on the stage. Sami Zayn's music hits, and out he comes to brawl with Owens on the stage. The fight to the ring where Kane is waiting with a double chokeslam. Kane makes the ring explode and leaves as his music hits. Not much from a match. We go to the back to the stage. Stephanie announces Sami Zayn for Raw. Shane drafts Bray Wyatt to SmackDown. Foley selects Sasha Banks for Raw and says every Monday will now be boss. Bryan pokes fun at Foley's obsession with the women of WWE and announces Becky Lynch for SmackDown. Foley picks Chris Jericho for Raw. We see a video from the WWE Network second screen experience with Ambrose talking about going to SmackDown. Still to come, segment, Sasha Banks in a handicap match about a commercial, which was next. Sasha Banks versus Dana and Charlotte. We got a ring. Out comes Dana and Women's Champion Charlotte. Sasha without next to a pop. Sasha and Dana go at it to start the match. Sasha ducks an attack and kicks Dana. Charlotte gets knocked off the apron as Sasha goes for a pin on Dana. Sasha keeps control and nails a double knees to Charlotte off the apron. Sasha turns around to Dana, throwing her on the outside. Dana brings it back in and mounts Sasha with right hands. Dana keeps Sasha grounded. Sasha comes back and kicks Charlotte off the apron again. More back and forth, and Sasha misses the backstabber, but regroups and goes for the bank statement. Charlotte runs in and ends up getting the win with a natural selection. Back to the stage, Foley selects U.S. champion Rusev and Lana for Raw. Bryan says he hates to do this, but SmackDown needs the Intercontinental title. So he drafts The Miz with Maurice to SmackDown. Stephanie picks Kevin Owens for Raw. Shane announces Baron Corbin for SmackDown. Foley calls Shane and Bryan soft and announces Enzo Amore and Big Cass together for Raw. Still to come segment, Rollins and Ambrose for the WWE title. Also, Cesaro versus Chris Jericho about the commercial. That match is up next. Back for a commercial break, announcers go over the picks. Chris Jericho makes his way out for the next match as Cesaro waits in the ring. Cesaro knocks Jericho out of the ring with uppercuts and clotheslines to a start. Cesaro with a big shot off the apron and a running uppercut into the barrier. Cesaro brings it back in the ring, hits a crossbody for a 2 count. Jericho makes a comeback for a 2 count. Jericho with a takedown. Cesaro counters walls of Jericho. Jericho goes on and hits an insecurity for a 2 count. Jericho slaps Cesaro around and keeps him grounded. More back and forth, and Cesaro goes to the top, but gets crotched. Jericho climbs up for a Frankensteiner and a 2 count. Cesaro blocks a code breaker and hits an uppercut. Cesaro with more uppercuts in the corner for the uppercut train. Jericho turns it around, but Cesaro blocks a lion top with a Russian leg sweep from the second rope. Cesaro with a 2 count. Cesaro hits a Cesaro swing. Several more reversals between the two. Jericho nails a code breaker for the win. After the match, we get replays as Jericho makes his exit. So to come, Ambrose defends the WWE title. About the commercial. Well, Natalya versus Alicia Fox was up next. Back from the break, Natalya was brawling at ringside with Becky Lynch as officials have tried to separate them. Natalya was set to have a match, but Becky attacked her. Becky eventually headed to the back as we go to commercial. Stephanie drafted Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson to Raw. Bryan drafts NXT tag team American Alpha. Chad Gable and Jason Jordan to SmackDown. Big Show is headed to Raw. Shane selects Dolph Ziggler for SmackDown. Stephanie announces NXT's Nia Jax, who is The Rock's cousin, and Uso's cousin as well, for Raw. More back. We go back to the announce table to plug the second screen experience again on the WWE Network. And we see Rollins being interviewed on his move to Raw. Back to commercial. Back from the break, Raw selects Neville. SmackDown selects Natalya. Raw drafts Cesaro. SmackDown picks Alberto Del Rio. And Raw selects Sheamus. That's it for TV picks. Another 30 will be announced on the post show as we'll have coverage. WWE title match. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. We go to the ring. Out comes Seth Rollins. He greets Stephanie and out comes WWE Champion Dean Ambrose. We get formal ring introductions from JoJo, but Rollins is attacked before they're even over or start the match. Then they're in the ring. They have the belt. No, we have no belt. Rollins leaves. Ambrose lying on the floor comes back in to raise the WWE title in the air. Back to commercial. Back for the break. Bell finally rings. Rollins unloads and beats Ambrose down. Rollins does more offense before keeping Ambrose down in the middle of the ring. Ambrose rolls to the floor for a breather, but Rollins follows. Ambrose gets whipped into the barrier, but he drops Rollins over the barrier into the timekeeper's area. Ambrose jumps from the announce table, but Rollins moves and he hits the barrier. Back inside the ring now, Rollins with a springboard knee and a kick to the face for a 2 count. Back to commercial. Back from the break, Rollins is still in control with more back and forth action. Ambrose ends up getting the win with the dirty deeds after countering Rollins' move. Not much more than that on the commercial break. So Dean Ambrose wins the match and retains the title. After the match, Ambrose celebrated as Shane and Bryan come to the ring and celebrate with him in the ring. Get replays as Ambrose puts on his SmackDown t-shirt, and we see Rollins down on the outside. A big orgasm yes chant breaks out as Ambrose hits the corners and announces run down the Battleground card. Smack goes off the air with Bryan, Ambrose, and Shane celebrating in the ring. After SmackDown goes off, they cut on the, since I'm watching it online and on USA Goals, is my place to watch it now. On the network, they're playing the broadcast. Opens up with Renee Young, Lita, Corey Graves, and Booker T on the network. The same as they do pay-per-views. They talk about what just happened tonight and what's left to come. Backstage, Tom Phillips with Neville. He called Dean Ambrose as the deserving champion. Tom asks how he's doing and how it feels to be back. Neville says it's appropriate that the Red Arrow ended up on Raw. The last 4 months have been tough on him. He's had time to re-strategize, and anyone who tunes in will see a rejuvenated Neville on Raw. Back to the panel for more discussion. Raw selects Goldust and R-Truth, while SmackDown selects the Usos. Silas O'Neil is going to Raw. Kane's going to SmackDown. Raw selects Paige. Greg Hamilton is backstage with Natalya, who calls Becky a coward for trying to steal her limelight tonight. Natalya says Becky is lucky she's not pressing charges. JoJo is backstage with Cesaro. He's not happy about being drafted so late and says he should have at least been in the top 10. Cesaro says he would have been a better fit for the wrestling folk of SmackDown, but he's looking forward to being on the flagship Raw and is trying to see the positive. Back to the panel with Gold and Truth joining the discussion. They feel good about staying together on Raw. Raw selects Darren Young with Bob Backlund. SmackDown drafts Kalisto. Raw drafts Sin Cara, and SmackDown selects Naomi. Jack Swagger is going to Raw. SmackDown then drafts the Ascension. Well, I'm going to go back to what Natalya was saying. She forgets that she's the one that's doing the beat down. So if anybody wants to press charges, she can press charges on back. And then retaliation, back and forth. Well, whatever. Whoever were doing the creative on that. Mm-hmm. Backstage with Alberto Del Rio, who isn't worried about anyone else and is looking forward to becoming champion again. We go back to Renee and the Usos to join them. Renee asks if they've talked to Roman Reigns about how he's doing. They say he's doing all right and is focused on Battleground, but it's unfortunate they end up on different shows. Usos say SmackDown is about to get a little crazy with their draft pick. We go backstage to Titus O'Neil and JoJo. He's excited as hell about the new opportunity to beat people up. Bob Backlund and Darren Young walk up. Young is happy about being back on Raw with his former primetime player partner. Backlund talks about barbarianism, and won't let Young go out partying to celebrate. Young says he really wants to wrestle Miz at Battleground, but he's going to fight him. We go back to the panel for round 9 of the draft. Raw selects the Dudley Boys. SmackDown drafts Zack Ryder. Raw selects Summer Rae. SmackDown picks Apollo Crews. Raw drafts Mark Henry, and SmackDown picks Alexa Bliss. And Triple H comments on Bliss on Twitter being drafted, courtesy of, like I said, courtesy of Twitter on Twitter at Triple H. Big things can come in small packages. In this case, I know they will. Hashtag WWE Draft. Speaking of what actually happened during that little segment, Darren Young was so glad to see Titus O'Neil, he was hugging him. Thus, you know, his character in real life, he's gay. So he said Titus was doing heel character in that way. Telling Bob, he needs to get his man off him. Get his man. Trying to get away from him or whatever. Okay, well, back to what happened after SmackDown. We go backstage to Kulisto, who is excited about being on his own. Back to the panel for more discussion on tonight's picks. Raw drafts Braun Strowman. SmackDown picks Breezango. Tyler Breeze and Fandango. Raw picks Bo Dallas. Of the Social Outcast. And SmackDown picks Eva Marie. Raw selects the Shining Stars. SmackDown gets the Vaudevillains. Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan have joined in the panel now. They're happy with how things went, especially considering how many picks Raw had. They both believe Ambrose is their guy and will retain the title at Battleground. Bryan is excited about American Alpha coming to SmackDown. More comments before Bryan and Shane go backstage. They cut to backstage with JoJo and Bo Dallas. He's with Heath Slater and Curtis Axel. Momentarily, they're all excited about going to Raw, but JoJo points out how only Bo has been drafted so far. Slater and Axel storm off when they realize the Social Outcasts may be split up. Back to the panel for final picks. Raw selects Alicia Fox. SmackDown drafts Eric Rowan. So Eric Rowan has joined Bray Wyatt on SmackDown. Braun Strowman went to Raw because he's a big man. All the big guys are going to Raw. SmackDown picks Mojo Rawley. Raw drafts Curtis Axel, and SmackDown ends with their final pick, Carmella. Stephanie and Foley join the panel for comments. They're happy with how the draft went. Renee signs off for the panel, and we cut to Heath Slater, who did not get picked, and they close out the post show. All right, so your final of your draft picks. Raw gets Seth Rollins, Charlotte, Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Tag Team Champions Xavier Woods, Big E, and Kofi Kingston, Sami Zayn, Sasha Banks, Chris Jericho, U.S. Champion Rusev and Lana, Kevin Owens, Enzo and Cass, The Club of Anderson and Gallows, Big Show, Nia Jax, Neville, Cesaro, Sheamus, and don't forget, they have also got all of your cruiserweights. SmackDown got Golden Truth, Titus O'Neil, Page, Darren Young with Bob Backlund, Sin Cara, Jack Swagger, the Dudley Boys, Devon and Bubba, Summer Rae, Mark Henry, Braun Strowman, Bo Dallas, Shining Stars, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke and Curtis Axel. Also got Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, John Cena, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Becky Lynch, IC Champion Miz and Maurice, Baron Corbin, American Alpha, Chad Gable and Jason Jordan, Dolph Ziggler, Natalya, Alberto Del Rio. Usos, Kane, Kalisto, Naomi, Ascension, Zack Ryder, Apollo Crews, Alexa Bliss, Tyler Breeze and Fandango, Eva Marie, Vaudevillains of Aiden English and Simon Gotch, Eric Rowan, Mojo Rawley, and to close out the thing, Carmella. WWE also announced the Raw announced team will feature Corey Graves, Michael Coleslaw, and Byron Saxton. SmackDown announced team will now include Mauro Ranallo, JBL, and David Otunga. No word yet on where Jared Aller is going, but SmackDown will be called by Graves, Tom Phillips, and main event will be called by Otunga and Phillips. And thanks for viewing. Peace out. See what I want to be. If you don't know, just call me brothers and sisters.